Hello dear Polymer Clay enthusiasts, I'm Mihaela from Learn Polymer Clay. In today's tutorial we are going to make an easy peasy Christmas tree cane. Let's dive into the tutorial. I'm using again my acrylic roller to push on the cutter, and then I will remove the extra clay, the excess clay. Then I am going to do the same with my red polymer clay passed through the largest setting of my pasta machine. I'm applying 2 layers of red polymer clay, one on top of the other, and then I've just used my rigid blade to cut a thin strip of clay, and then I am going to use my undulating blade to cut again a thin strip of polymer clay, and I also cut an opening through my Christmas tree where I would put this thin strip, and I would continue to decorate my Christmas tree with such cuttings and thin strips of red polymer clay. And in some areas I'm using the rigid blade, in other areas I used the undulating blade, and I really like the effect of these strips made with the undulating blade. And then I've just used a round camper cutter to cut out a round shape, and I'm going to fill this round shape with a round decoration made with red polymer clay and a thin strip of white clay in the middle. So I'm just using a double layer of red polymer clay. I use the same camper cutter to cut out the red form, and then I just used a thin strip of white clay that I put in the middle, and I am going to do 3 such round bulbs. Now I want to make a background for my Christmas tree. So again I'm working with a double layer of red polymer clay. I cut it in half, and I am going to use the same Christmas tree cutter, and this time I am going to use the outer part to make, as I said, a background for the Christmas tree. And I'm taking the time to press everything together, and I am going to apply some red polymer clay on top of the tree and beneath the tree, because I want to have a red background all around this Christmas tree. And now I can press everything together and start reducing the cane, meaning I am applying pressure on all the sides, and I'm using my roller as well to roll on top of the clay and on the sides, and in the same time I'm reducing the height and the height of the cane, and the width will gradually grow as the image grows smaller. The width grows larger, and I'm taking the time to reduce the cane to the desired size. And so I had to condition some yellow polymer clay, and I've just used a star cutter to add this element to the cane. And then I'm going to cut out star shapes, several star shapes, and I'm going to pile them one on top of the other until I will have the desired width to fill the star shape. And I'm always using my craft knife to cut an opening so that I would be able to put an element inside the cane. Now I think the cane looks really prettier, and I would continue to reduce the cane until I would have the desired size. So I'm using my hands and my roller to reduce the cane, and it takes a little bit of time, but taking into consideration that you will have a lot of slices to play with, to make all kind of beads and pendants and anyway you can use them to decorate your jewelry pieces. So this it really is worth taking the time to reduce the cane. And here are the slices from the reduced cane. And then I've just used my scrap clay from this project and I marbled it. I just mixed these pieces of scrap clay until I've got a marble design. I like marble designs very much. I would say a larger ball of clay. I've used the rigid blade to cut it in half. I'm doing my best to keep the shape, the round part, and then I am going to apply a slice of the cane on top of the flat part, and I'm going to use a slightly smaller round cutter to remove the excess clay. And you'll have to be very careful when you are taking out the piece out of the cutter. And then I've just used a needle tool to make a hole, because I intend to use these beads to make earrings. I put them into the preheated oven at the temperature recommended by the polymer clay manufacturer for 50 minutes. And then I've used sandpaper in 100 grit, 800, 600, 400, 200, and warm water with liquid soap. And I sanded the pieces. I sanded the flat part, and in fact I sanded all over the bead. And even though I took the time to sand those beads, these beads to have a beautiful, nice look, I still am going to apply some glossy varnish, because I want these beads to shine like Christmas candies. So I am going to apply several layers, 2 or 3 layers of glossy varnish all over the bead, and I am going to put them and then leave them dry. And then I'm going to use 20 gauge wire to make the wires for the earrings, and I'm going to hammer one end of the wire because I want to make like a candy stick for these earrings. So I'm going to hammer flat the end of the wire, and then I am going to put the bead through the wire to make sure that it stays on the wire. So I need to hammer the wire a little bit more to open it up like a flower petal. And then I am going to use my tools to create to curve the wire, and I will also use my sanding sponge to sand the end of the wire, because you don't want to hurt your ears when wearing these earrings, of course. As always, I hope that you liked the tutorial. I hope that you are inspired to create more using polymer clay. Please push the like button if you liked the tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiration for work with clay.